To the cloud. Hello and welcome everyone to this session of the Abundant Entrepreneur Summit, where purpose-driven entrepreneurs are ready to unlock wealth and success with authenticity and joy. And once again, it's me, your host, Gentry Hardegree. And today I am thrilled to be here co-creating this space with Jennifer Ackad. And we have come to a title of today's session called Creating Intuitively from Our True Power, Embodied Roar and Soul Calling. So Jennifer is Jennifer is a soul embodiment mentor, authentic transformational coach, and international bestseller co-author. Jennifer has left a successful mechanical engineering career in 2010 to follow her soul calling and live a life by design. For more than 9 years, she immersed herself thoroughly into yoga therapy and other self-healing schools, diving deep into her own body and self-awareness to discover what she now calls home within. Creatrix of the Authentic and Soul Embodiment Living movement and transformation system, she has since been guiding humans to create space in their own bodies and in their lives in order to awaken the wisdom, truth, and answers that they hold inside. Her mentoring and group programs are powerful and intimate containers where participants get to reignite their innate sacred flame, ground in their essence, and reconnect to their authentic voice and exquisite soul path. By honoring their deepest desires and highest calling, they shift their lifestyle and activate their playground, manifesting a creative and fiercely aligned life and leading it as embodied souls while empowering others. Wow, beautiful. Welcome, lovely. So nice to have you here, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for having me, Gentry. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. So I would love to open up by having you share with us, a little bit on your origin story. I mean, from mechanical engineering career to this beautiful self-embodied soul coach that is leading others to opening to their playground. Like, what does this journey in unfolding look like for you?
Yes, I made this jump from engineering into soul calling, I would say more tangibly 15 years ago already. So, in a nutshell, I was always called by the mystery of life. So, I used to travel a lot in parallel to my engineering job. And when I was traveling, I was bathing in spaciousness that I was not accessing on my day-to-day life, right? Because I was busy in corporate environment, which was beautiful, but I was not having access to what I call now soul or essence. But when I was traveling, I was accessing this pristine guidance that was coming from something that felt more natural, something that was opening my heart and that was guiding me. And that's how I used to travel. So there's a moment where I was traveling in Brazil that I can refer to as my first, let's say, awakening step that really opened me to different frequencies, right? And it lifted a veil up, right? And I realized that I did not need to have a career per se. I did not need to be married. I did not need to have children. I did not need to do anything. That there was another way of living than the conditioned way of living. And the second I tapped into this answer, my life started shifting totally. And in my heart, I received the answer that I wanted to work with the human being. So when I went back to my office, it was clear that I needed to step out of the environment because my body was also starting to have some symptomatics that were screaming like the depression feelings or body aches that were alarms telling me, hey, you need to start shifting path. So it was the body that started telling me, you need to reorient your life.
Mhm.
And so I went to my boss's office and told him, hey, I'm going home. And for me, I was quitting the engineering world to go home within. I
Mhm.
knew that there was a world that I needed to explore within that was not about traveling in other countries, but about traveling inside of my own body.
Mhm.
So I spent about 10 years in deep study mode in my own laboratory.
Mhm.
studying sensations and studying the thoughts that were linked and realizing that at the center core of my body temple, there was nothing. There was this void. And within this void, there was an infinite potential of creation.
Mm,
There was an infinite potential of, let's say, ideas, but beyond ideas, but I could receive insights on where life wanted to take me rather than where I wanted to take life.
mhm,
So it shifted me from operating from my mind into life, but rather from my deep center into life. And so one thing led to the other. I started offering services and building services for human beings. And then at one point, the core calling became you need to be more visible. Your business needs to take a bigger stand. And business started growing from there. But it was from this center point of creation within my own self and listening deeply to my intuition that I started creating everything rather than, oh, I have a good business idea and I'm putting it in place, right?
mm,
So this is kind of in a nutshell my transition. Obviously, this came with a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty, not knowing where I was going, not being trained to serve the human being. I was trained to be an engineer, right? So it was really a jump without a parachute into the unknown, trusting 100% that this voice inside of me was guiding me somewhere.
mm,
And yes, and then I met the right teachers and I trained different modalities and I started offering spaces and it built confidence, which is
mhm,
very important in what I call organic business or intuitive business, heart-centered
mhm,
business, because what we offer is ourselves. We're not offering an idea. People choose us
mm.
as a transmission to where they want to be going. At least this is how I operate business. So, so yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you for sharing that. I feel that very full body that really, really hit home for me because I can speak for my own journey too, that my body has been sending me signals, right? Really, that the dis-ease in my body is truthfully speaking to me that, where am I? Am I at home? Am I at home in myself? And am I making my decisions from that place? Or am I in the mind or outside of me and operating and navigating and choosing from there? And I think that there's probably going to be a lot of people in our audience too that might even be budding entrepreneurs right now or looking into how might they be able to navigate this next step from transition, into the fullness of their mission that they would love to be, leading. Um, and and trusting the signs and signals of the body. Yes. So
Yes.
very, yeah.
And
Hmm.
I want, if I can add something to weave into something that why the body is so important from my perspective is that once we start really taking business more seriously, right? We all get challenged with visibility. We all get challenged with confidence. So with the body, when you're sitting home and you live home in your body temple, we realize that safety is within. Safety is not something that's going to be given from the outside, nor is validation, right? So it's
Right.
it's it's how to find the safety within to start creating the foundations also of your business and to hold space for your client.
Yes. So as you speak to that, do you have particular practices or techniques or tools that you use to help nourish that, to help trust that? Um,
Yes, 100%. So
mhm,
I was trained as a yoga therapist, as you read in my bio, and different other modalities that are about embodiment and listening to the felt sense of the body. So this
mhm,
is, I would say, the foundation of my body of work. And whether it's in business or in relationship or in whatever you want to be doing, right, in life, family life or mothering, for me, it's always about how to be anchored in yourself first and operating from there. So the body work, this embodiment practice, is about bringing awareness to the physical sensations of your body and grounding. Grounding is the first step. So how can we stay with our attention inside our body, in our pelvis, in our womb space for women, our creative center? How can we feel the breath of our pelvic diaphragm, our pelvic floor? And all of this gives us the safety, and it brings our attention to what I call the authentic embodiment. So there's authentic embodiment and there's what I call soul embodiment. But both are channeled from the body as answered. So the authentic embodiment for me is okay, well, when you tap into the sensations of your body, you get clarity on your needs, you get clarity on your wisdom, you get clarity on your desires, the roar, the true roar. You get clarity on your yes. What is a clear yes? What is a clear no? So all of this help us navigate our businesses as entrepreneurs. And the
Mm-hmm.
soul embodiment, it's the same practice, but then the attention is more on the spaciousness created rather than on the physical sensation. It's more, wow, I live in my body, my attention is here in my body temple, but I know there's so much space within and around me. So we tap into the field of information from this empty vessel because we're present, right? We're not entertaining thoughts or emotions, right? And then we tap into the calling. We tap into, oh, what are these timelines that want to be created? So we get inspiration from this field of information. And then we're like, oh, I hear you. Now, body, start walking in alignment with this information. And that's how we start accelerating our soul purpose
Mm-hmm.
into our businesses. And authenticity and soul purpose together
Mm-hmm.
magnetize our soul aligned clients. We might not have thousands of clients, right? But we're going to get the aligned clients, the ones who want to receive transmissions from us, who
Mm-hmm.
are going to recognize from our vibration the integration of our experiences. So when we live, let's say, authentic and soul embodied, and there's no perfection, right? It's a path. But when we follow, let's say, this um, principle, we cannot lie because we really speak from the truth of what's active in our body. And when we speak from the mind, our body tells us right away, you're ungrounding yourself, you're bullshitting yourself. And it becomes very uncomfortable. And this is what creates this ease, right? So
Yes.
that's what I promote. That's what I promote, this embodiment practice. And then once this is set, once the person have this intimate connection with himself or herself or themselves, you then start creating your playground. Then
Mm.
it's an authentic playground. And it's a totally different way of living.
Yes. So it's almost as if we're creating a structure, like a sandbox to play within, like the structure of a sandbox that is this beautiful spaciousness within where authenticity and soul purpose can play and create. It's almost like the void of the womb is, our creation playground. And when we're really operating from that space, that is the truest essence that is becoming birth forward. And when we're not and we're off kilter, we are truly going to be, I don't not always knocked upside the head so loudly, but the body is going to start to respond like on the physical form, in that dis-ease that you're mentioning there. And
And it's going to be, you're going to feel like you're forcing something instead of coming from this life force energy, Shakti energy, creative energy. We're going to tough up and say, I have this goal, I'm going there, that's what I'm doing. And then we tense up, especially as women.
yeah,
It's very disaligned to operate our businesses like this. Can work for some time, but then we burn out and then we get depressed, we get confused, we don't know why. Well, this is why. It's because we operated more from fear than from organic living.
yes,
And sometimes by connecting to our womb and our cycle also, but the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, well, we were going to wake up in the morning, and the body and our womb is going to say, well, you're going to stay 1 hour more in bed today. You're not going to go and write 3 emails for your email lists or whatever that is. I'm just giving an example like this. You need to integrate and recalibrate your nervous system. And then, boom, the energy starts surging again. And then creativity comes, and then it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's not what we think. Sometimes we want to push a goal out of the door, but organically, it might not be the best aligned action. Maybe our body and the desire that we tap into will be, well, now your step in life organically is to go and connect back with your mother.
Mm-hmm.
Call her, call her now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, okay, then you call your mother, and the transmission of love and the healing, for example, that could happen in that moment is exactly the dose of medicine that you need to unlock the creativity for your business. And I have shivers as
I
I'm
do
saying
too.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
right? And this is difficult to do. I'm going to be honest. To always be in tune like this, even myself, I fall out of it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because the pressure of society, or especially in the entrepreneurial life, we are bombarded by example of, the millionaire mindset and like go getter. But intuition does not operate like this. Intuition is
Mm-hmm.
the subtle voice from beyond that we listen and that we respond to. It's a response from the body moving forward towards something that we don't necessarily know what the result is going to be. But we're like, Spirit, I'm called. Okay, it might look ridiculous, but I'm called. That's it.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, I feel that so so truly. That intuition, it's it is a practice, because we live in such a world where things are linear and data driven, and it's like, how do you produce data for the intuitive knowing, right? That you could be sitting in the boardroom too, talking to a group of people, but and your intuition is coming forward, and then they're like, okay, well, what are the facts and numbers to prove that? And it's like, it's just your knowing, and to trust into that. So here we are, stepping into leading ourselves in business or mission or legacy, and um, also it can feel like a lonely place too at times. And when we can let the uncertainty be okay with that, like kind of let that uncertainty be part of the process. But really, what I'm hearing is what's going to help guide us through those moments of uncertainty, and the uncharted waters is really when we are knowing that we're living from our authenticity, and the deeper knowing of our truth. So I'm really happy to have you here speaking more towards this, because the body is, in my mind, in my world, in myself, it means it's such a big part of this equation of not just being whole and holistic, but really what that means to be abundant and to be fully living in our abundance. So I would love to hear you speak a little bit more about what abundance means to you or looks like. And
Yeah,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
100%. I love this theme. And, as we're sharing, my heart is pumping. I'm loving our conversation. Thank you so much for giving a voice and a space to speak about these things.
Thank
And
you.
abundance for me is very close to love and gratitude, right? It's
Mhm.
all very divine energies that we can access in our body also when we cultivate presence. And we were speaking just now about the unknown, right? And for me as an entrepreneur, to live in the unknown is to accept that I'm a creatrix, I'm a creator, that we are born creators. And creators, to create is actually the art of being in the void and being in the unknown, in the spaciousness of love, of abundance, of gratitude, and birthing this into the world.
Mhm.
So, abundance for me, abundance is an energy that we can access at any given moment. So, of course, there's abundance of money and wealth, but there's abundance in everything. that we can connect to. There's abundance in nature. So for each individual, it's to define what is abundance for them and what can we connect them to the field of abundance rapidly. Because again, on a daily basis, we are in our mind, we have our to-do list, but we need each individual's responsibility is to be what can connect me back to the field of abundance quickly. So for example, like I have my routines, I have my disciplines, I'm surrounded by nature out of choice because for me, they are portals of, okay, if I forget that abundance exists, let me go back to my body temple, feel abundant in my body through connecting to these portals also. Mother Earth
Mm,
for me is a portal of abundance.
mm,
And that's for me, but for somebody else, it could be pictures of their family
mm.
around, you know? But this is to say that abundance is a field. And the more we train our nervous system to weave and to be programmed by abundance, well, the more abundance is going to be our way of living. Because we follow a frequency of abundance. Therefore, when we are with our body and we are yes, no, this is aligned, this is not aligned. Well, if something is not in resonance with abundance, then it's a clear no. Our body will not want it
Yes.
because it's choosing abundance. It's clear in intention that no, I'm an abundant being. I'm choosing abundance. And when I'm disaligned, I'm going to recalibrate my nervous system with abundance.
Mm,
And I'm really sharing what I do on a daily basis when I catch myself not being in the frequency of abundance or gratitude, because let's be honest, we're not always in this, but we have few moments in our day where we can check in. Where am I in relation to my compass of frequency I want to integrate more and more in my life, personal, professional life.
mhm,
And it becomes the compass.
mhm.
And at one point it becomes a second muscle. And the intuition is aligned with this muscle. Intuitively, oh, should I connect with this person? Yes, no, because yeah, like for me to be on this summit, right? It was very intuitive. Like up until last minute, it was a bit like, okay, what are we doing? But my intuition was like, no, there's something. Like it keeps opening the path. And I said no to 5 other summits. You know what I
Oh,
mean? So
wow.
I did. But I was like, no, there's something in the frequency that wants me there. And I want to have a voice there. And now I understand because all of this is being channeled through, and probably the audience is very ready to receive this information. And it's touching my heart and yours. I can feel it. So,
Totally. More chills. Hmm.
yes. So, yes, that's for me the subject of abundance. What wants to come through right now?
Thank you. Thank you. I extracted like three F words out of that beautiful description, like the field of abundance, the frequency, and then like the feeling of abundance, and how you at any moment, each of us can choose to tap in, tune in to all of those, to that field, to the frequency, to and create that feeling within us.
It's a
And
choice.
through the portals of the various ones that we all have around us, right?
Yeah. I
The
love that you
nature.
brought the choice point. It's very important.
Hmm.
It's a choice. When we catch ourselves, what are we choosing? Because we have this power. We have this power. And part of my title was the roar, right? There was
Yeah.
the roar piece. And the roar can come in and say, ah, no, this is not aligned. Ah, yes, this is what I want, you know? And the roar is really close to the desire. This is very in the body. And sometimes we repress desires by thinking that it's not spiritual enough.
Right.
No, there's abundance in saying yes to our raw desires, because that's abundance too. Abundance
Yeah.
is not only spiritual. Abundance is of the body. Abundance is feeling the hot blood in our veins circulate. It's feeling our nervous system nurturing our organs because we say yes to desires that are in our body.
Yes.
And that's abundance. Then our body is a magnet. We are full of life force in the present moment. Not tomorrow, not yesterday. In the present moment, we are listening. We're like, oh, yes, yes, this is it. Yes. And in the yes,
Yes.
there's abundance.
Oh, I love that. I love that you said it can be a roar and that desire, it's okay to have desires, right? Because I think a lot of us have heard, right? It's not spiritual, or even as a child or growing up in cultural societal norms of like desiring something was greedy, and are very materialistic. And really, I know we are speaking to our true soul's desires, really. That are for our highest and best, and those of others, and that we truly just want to have that experience. Why do we just want to, we just know we want it, and we're meant to experience that. And if I'm hearing you correctly, because I hear so much that intuition is going to be, quiet, we're all going to, have our senses of how that comes through. But am I hearing you correctly that sometimes it comes through as a roar, that we hear it as that raw desired passion that just is like a hell yes, and it feels strong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It does. It's a bit different than when it's a desire coming from the body. But for me, creating my first programs that I offered, it was coming from this intuitive roar that was beyond understanding. If I share quickly the story, it was when the airports were starting to close during COVID. And I was in Costa Rica because I live in Costa Rica also, right? And it was the last day the airport was going to stay open. And I was with my son, and his dad was on the phone, and he's like, "You guys need to come now back to Canada because everything's closing and we don't know how long this is going to close." So I'm like, okay. So I start packing, and within like 12 hours, I'm at the airport and I'm on a flight. And I'm like, God, what is happening? Like everything was so fast. And the roar happened in this moment when I was sitting on the plane, and the channeling came intuitively. It's like, you're going back to Canada. You're going to create a container for women called Sacred Womb Space. You're going to guide women into their wombs for 6 months. And here's the list of names. And all of this was intuitive, but with a roar. Like there was so much fire coming. It was not the gentle intuition whisper. It was, girl, this is what you do. You don't have any choice. This is why I'm sending you back to Canada. God's
Wow.
order, let's say. And then I went, and within a month, this program launched without effort. I mean, I just had to take the list, call each woman and say, "Hey, I was on the plane. I'm called to create this group. Your name came in. My intuition says you need to be in this group. Are you in?" And I had my first $40,000 month like this, because I did not negotiate the 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 roar of this intuition.
Mhm.
If I had brought doubt in the field, because I had never officially uh, trained people in this before. Of course, I
Mhm.
had trained myself, but it was the first time I was launching a 6 months program like this back then. And yes, I did not allow, the fire was so strong, there was no room for doubt, to be honest. It
Mm.
was just pushing. That's very personal, but to give you detail, it was so much of a burst because it was
Uh-huh.
really going through that I had hemorrhoids for 2 weeks.
Is that right?
I swear, my body was giving birth in such a strong, powerful way that I had hemorrhoids. It was
Oh.
painful to give birth.
Wow, wow. Well, thank you
Felt
for just
pain.
sharing that. I mean, that is really, it really speaks to the testament of the roar and listening to the roar and that creative process of the roar, and really how that, like you said, because hemorrhoids do pop up when we are pushing and birthing and doing those things, and literally what a parallel. um
Yes, it's giving
yeah,
birth, right, to our
yeah,
creation.
yeah, yeah. Wow. Wow. um just looking, it's 111 here. um with what we've shared so far and some other, we've talked about following intuition and our authentic truth to building an aligned, business or life. Is there anything more in that regards that you want to touch into? Um, Here we've talked about grounding in our deep desires. And I'm just thinking,
Um, yes, I mean, again, with the body comes also our natural powers. So this is also in the theme of aligning our business with who we are at the core. because we're here to sell ourselves. And that's important to stay in abundance, because when we stay in our true power, our true gifts, again, our blood circulates better in our body. Our nervous system operates better in our body. There's more clarity in our mind. When we try to impose to our body, I am this. This is what I learned in school, therefore I do this. It becomes in a box, and it's it's putting us also in a box. The attitude is more, what am I born with? What are these God-given gifts that are natural for me, that my whole life people have come to me for? People have always come to me for authenticity and for deep listening. So I'm like, okay, well, this is what is being packaged. I've always connected to the body. I've always been mystical, right? So all of
Mhm.
these, if we look at our young age and we kind of assess what was natural from us, what were our dreams when we were young, all of
Mhm.
this is encoded with what we're actually supposed to put into, let's say, the format of an organic business. Because
Mhm.
people then choose you and they pay for you. They don't choose for something that is borrowed. You know what I
Mm.
mean? It's not about a
Yeah.
certification. It's about who you are.
Yeah. So do you think that, if we speak to our audience, that they can, take some time to sit with themselves and journal on asking themselves those questions about, how, why are who and why do I attract, the types of relationships and people that are attracted to me, for what reasons? What are these innate qualities that I have friends say that they really love about me? Um, I think that's a beautiful place to be able to tap into. I mean, I know there's like things out there like gene keys and astrology and all these ways of like trying to figure ourselves
Mm.
out and what we're meant to be doing here if we are, choosing to step into um, to creating a brand, a business, an offering. Would you simplify that down and say that that's not really even necessary? That we can start by asking ourselves just some simple questions? Yeah.
Simple questions and
And
intimacy with your
intimacy.
body. Because our message, our voice, our true voice is from the body. So when it comes to messaging and speaking to our audience, well, we want it to come from a place of truth. So creating this spaciousness and being intimate with our body, when we speak, it's going to come and vibrate.
Mhm.
It will touch people in a different way than what do I need to say and how do I need to put my sentence for messaging so that it touches people. This is goal oriented. It's not,
Mm.
no, there's a knowing inside my body and I let the knowing speak. That's one
Mhm.
thing. Or else a simple exercise is to really sit down and, cup of tea and enjoy like a sacred space and look at the timeline in your life, your storyline. What's your storyline from when you were born up to now? And mark, let's say, the five biggest moments, the five biggest chapters or marking moments of your life. And you will see that in these marking moments also are probably your hidden gifts are. Most of the time, our most challenging moments are encoded with our gifts because we go through these challenges to be able to unlock these gifts also.
True.
This and our dreams when we were young. What was I dreaming of? What was spontaneous for me? What was natural for me? And it might not be in 10 minutes that you channel all of this, but if you keep the question open and curiosity in your heart, like,
Uh-huh.
oh, like the awe of the innocence of the child, then this you
Yes.
brings you also into abundance because we look at life with, like honest in our eyes, right?
Yes. Yes.
Curiosity heals. A teacher told me this once. Curiosity.
I love that you brought that into this because I had a mentor a few years ago, and that was really very key in tapping into the creative process was first getting into innocence. First getting into innocence, that awe, that curiosity, and creating from that space.
And that's how I
Um,
started back. When I quit engineering, I remember I phoned all my friends because I used to go out a lot back then. And I felt like I'm not going out, and I stayed in house for 6 months, and I took my color pencil, and I'm like, whatever's coming out on paper. And I started being so innocent and dancing and drawing and pouring poems and playing guitar
Mm-hmm.
just to go back to the innocent state
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
not having any obligation and having the luxury of, doing this at that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
And it just reprogrammed me. And then obviously I went to spiritual communities, and my whole path, I have so many chapters in my life. I touched a little one, but it's yeah, the innocence, just to go back
Yeah.
to this.
I love that, and sharing what you just did to really embody that innocence. Yeah. 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 Thank
Embodiment
you.
of innocence.
Yes. So good. Um, just to be mindful of our time here together today, I would love to know if you would still like to do some type of process here, or I don't remember if you had called it an activation that you wanted to lead, or something of the
Yeah, I
sort.
can create something now that is in the line of what we were just sharing about the body. So, and the
Hmm.
free gift will be linked to this too.
Okay,
So
wonderful. Yeah, and the free gift link will be posted below the video. We can talk a little bit more to that when we
just
fully wrap
after,
up. Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
So what we can do is simply take a moment together to bring presence to our body tissues.
Hmm.
And I would suggest to start sitting, and then we'll stand up, and it will take 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So closing your eyes and allowing the body's weight to drop, and already bringing this approach of being curious, an attitude of being curious and open and receptive to what we don't see, keeping your skin porous and feeling your inner physical world soften and drop its weight on the ground, on Mother Earth. Exhaling, allowing the mouth to stay open a little bit, relaxing the jaw. The jaw is directly linked to the pelvis and the pelvic floor, softening the tongue, back of the tongue, and feeling the bones touching the ground, and allowing the bone structure to play their role, which is creating a container for your sensations, and feeling how anchored this structure is on Mother Earth, and how it's supporting, allowing all the rest to soften and to relax. Receiving your sensations, whatever sensation is present, to receive it without judgment, without trying to analyze it, to be present to what is physically, sensationally. Feeling through this, how is the body breathing without inhaling or exhaling, but keeping the natural breath of what is present already. How are your organs breathing and moving within your body temple right now? And being with the movements of the breath. Feeling the different parts of your body, calling your attention in. Hey, I'm here. Thank you for your presence. We're filling our body with our own quality of attention, reclaiming the attention that's most of the time spread out of the body, but bringing it back in our bank, inside our body temple, and allowing this energy inside to feel safe, grounded, from your roots, from the roots that you feel connected to your chair, to start moving very subtly, circling from the bones. So it's the pelvis is moving in rotation rather than the upper part of the body. It's first ignited from the pelvis, and the rest of the spine moves. And noticing as you're moving, what is being moved inside the body? What chains of tensions, what organs are being touched as the body is being moved from one impulse of rotation from Earth. And continuing cultivating intimacy with yourself. And from there, allowing the arms to open and organically to let your body move as it wants to express right now. So I'm not going to guide the movement, but your bones and your body is going to choose to be moved by what is present. So gravity is your best ally with this type of practice. And then earth supporting gives you back energy and penetrates you and makes you move. How can you let yourself be moved by the energy of earth? Abundant energy of earth, filling yourselves with life force. Yes, exactly. Softening the eyes, softening the tongue. Noticing the quality of connection to yourself that you feel in this moment. Noticing the presence and also the calmness. There's a peace that comes with this. There's something that tastes good. And even if some sensations are not comfortable, maybe, well, how to alchemize this into the abundance. Like, wow, I'm feeling here. It feels good. It feels not even good. We are feeling. Yeah. Bring the, yes, connection. All right. And slowly allowing the movement to stop itself, coming back to center. And stopping the movement and allowing the bodies to stop. Staying in silence for a few seconds. And noticing right away what truth is your body ready to claim right now. And let the first answer come, whatever it is. And that first answer is your guidance as an embodied soul of what is required in your life right now for your body to be happy and abundant. Take a deep breath in this. And make a commitment to yourself that you heard and that you will bridge this in reality with an action. A few actions this week that will represent your yes of this answer. And that's going to actualize your playground with your truth. And slowly coming back. Take some time if you have the space to write, if you are watching. And the path goes on like this.
Yeah. Just writing my word down.
Mm-hmm. You can share if you want, Gentry,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also personal if you don't want to.
Well, I am worthy is what came through. Yeah. So feeling worthy of shining my light, of having the successes that I would love to see for myself and those that whose lives that I'm here to touch. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your truth.
So I have my next little aligned action step here. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah, it felt like we created spaciousness in the pelvis and in the womb. It felt nourishing. It felt grounding. It felt loving. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It felt sensual for sure too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you, Jennifer.
Mm.
Um, so would you like to speak to where our audience can find out more about their free gift and learn more about you, your offerings? Yep.
100%. So the free gift, the link is going to be, yes,
Mhm.
in the description of this video, most probably.
Yep.
And it's called Discovering Home Within. I actually combined two free gifts. You will find
Mhm.
this on the page that you're going to click, Discovering Home Within and Fire Dance Alchemy. So I decided to combine both because Discovering Home Within is a little bit of this process that we went through right now, which is a 90-minute video of this practice that we just did in a few minutes. And to discover home within, to bring all this attention inside the body cells and activating the body with this principle of anchoring the bones, gravity, Mother Earth nurturing. All of these principles are in there. And Fire Dance Alchemy is to activate more the leadership and the fire. So it's more through, there's a playlist and there's dancing
Yeah.
that you're going to use the same principle as this practice, but in movement. And that's
Mm.
also bringing all the facets, all the expressivity of your fire through embodiment. That's going to support your authentic leadership. So you stay aligned with the true expression of these energies in your body. Both use the same principles as embodiment practices, but it's a bit different as modalities. The first is more with your yoga mat, and
Mhm.
it's more of a deep, present and some still postures, dynamic postures. The other one is
Mhm.
more free dancing, and it's more for the pleasure and the playfulness of it too. So I feel it complete as embodiment, and included, I just created also a workbook to accompany this for the two practices with open questions to inquire, what your body has found as answers and to guide you a little bit on this path
Oh, this
of
sounds
authentic
juicy.
soul embodiment. Yes, yes, I'm very
Yes.
excited about
I'm
it.
gonna go claim mine.
Mhm. Super excited, and people can find me on my website, and and they can contact me or write me, on
Okay.
Instagram. Yeah,
In those spaces as well. Okay, on the
yeah.
socials. All right, wonderful. Well, I am so thrilled to have had you today, you bringing your enlightened somatic wisdom here to share with us. I think it's really powerful what you have graced us with. So I just genuinely thank you. I thank you. I think there's so many takeaways for our audience and I know myself. So it's been a real pleasure. Thank you, Jennifer.
Such a pleasure. Beautiful
Yeah.
transmission together. Thank you so much, and thank you, audience, for being here and choosing yourself through watching this series. I hope to
Yes.
our life and collective co-creating
Yeah. Yeah.
for the
Beautiful.
better.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another great session. And until next time, bye bye for now.